This is Advanced Math, Unit 3, Lesson 6, 3.6 notes for Advanced Math. Okay, this lesson is going to go quite a bit quicker than the last. 3.6, trig, functions, and quadrantals. Okay, we've talked about quadrantals before. There's nothing new. We're just going to quickly review them. On a unit circle, because the radius is 1, this is 1, 0, 0, 1, negative 1, 0, and 0, negative 1. Zero, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. Okay. Again, this is all review. We talked about this on the lesson before. Cosine theta is x, sine of theta is y, and tan of theta is y over x, or sine over cosine, however you want to think of it. Okay, so let's just get right into it. We're going to find the value. Number 1, sine of pi over 2. There's pi over 2. Sine is the y value. Your answer is 1. You're done. You're good. That's all this is going to be. Number 2, tan of 180. 180 is here. Tangent is y over x, or sine over cosine. So it is 0 over negative 1, which is 0. Number 3, tan of 3 pi over 2. Here's 3 pi over 2. Tangent is y over x. So negative 1 over 0 is undefined. If you feel like I'm going too fast, you can just hit pause every now and then. Number 4, cosecant of 3 pi over 2. Here's 3 pi over 2. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. Remember, C with S. So sine is the negative 1, and the reciprocal of negative 1 is simply negative 1. 5, secant of 3 pi over 2. We're still here at 3 pi over 2. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine. Now, there's a little tricky on this one. You want to be careful. Cosine is 0. What's the reciprocal of 0? So think of 0 over 1, and you flip it, it's 1 over 0. Does that make sense? Again, secant's the reciprocal of cosine. This is cosine right here, 0 over 1. Do you agree 0 over 1 is 0? 0 over 5 is 0. However you write it, you reciprocal it. 1 over 0 is undefined. All right, number 6, tangent of negative 2 pi. Going around this way, negative 2 pi is in the same position as positive 2 pi. Tangent is y over x, so it is 0 over 1, which is just 0. And this last one, before we move on to the drawing piece, is it gets kids every year. Cotangent of 90 degrees. Here's 90 degrees. Cotangent's the reciprocal of tangent. Tangent being y over x, so cotangent is x over y. And I apologize, this is not the piece that gets students every year. I will explain it in just a little bit. Okay, Tangent is y over x, so cotangent is x over y, so x over y is 0 over 1. And the one that gets students every year is knowing that the reciprocal of undefined is 0. The reciprocal of 0 is undefined. The reciprocal of undefined is 0. We'll talk more about that as the unit goes on. So for now, this is good. We're going to move on to some graphing problems. Draw, then find sine, cosine, and tangent. Number 1, theta is 120 degrees. And so you're going to be asked to draw. So here, if this is 180, where is 120? 120 is in this quadrant. What is your reference angle? How far back is 120 from 180? When you subtract, you get 60. So draw it where there's a 6. Think of this here as a 60-degree angle. This is your 120, but your reference angle is 60. Can you see that? Our theta is 120, but the reference angle is 60. All right, so sine of 120, cosine, and tangent of 120. I am going to use the hand trick just to give those of you that are using it the practice. What is my reference angle for 120? 60 degrees. Here is the 60 degrees. I'm putting this finger down. This is the x, this is the y. So sine is the y, that's this side here, that's root 3 over 2. I'll get my positive negatives in there in just a little bit. Cosine, this one is the cosine, this one here, because it's the x, and there's only one, so that's 1 over 2. Tangent is y over x, and remember I gave you the shortcut. The denominators you don't have to worry about because they're always going to reduce. So it's root 3 over 1, which is root 3. Root 3 over 2, 1/2, root 3. Positive negatives. All students take calculus. The only thing positive here is sine. That means cosine is negative, tangent's negative. You can go back and look at your unit circle and check it for 120. 120 is there. Cosine's negative 1/2, indeed. Sine is root 3 over 2, indeed. And tangent is y over x, so negative root 3. All right, number 2, and yes, you will have some like this. Theta equals 12 pi. It helps. Now, if you didn't have to graph this, I mean, graphing it, we're going to have to see where it's at. But if you didn't have to graph it, it's good to know where your even and odd numbers are. For example, there's 1 pi, there's 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, 5 pi, 6 pi. So these are going to be all the odd 7, 11, 15, 21 pi's. These are going to be all your evens, 2, 4, 6, 12, 16, 24. So 12 pi is going to be over here on this side eventually. We are going to have to graph it. So there's 2 pi. I'm just going to count by twos. 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 pi, 6, 7, 8 pi, 10 pi, and 12 pi. All right. I know that looks crazy. Okay, so 12 pi, we're going to find sine, cosine, and tangent of 12 pi. Now you can see that your reference angle is 0 or 2 pi, however you want to think of it. But the point here is 1, 0. So sine is the y value, that's 0. Cosine's the x value, that's 1. Tangent is y over x, 0 over 1 is 0. And that is it for this lesson.